Filmmaking is probably one of the most important things that's ever happened to me. For 15 years, I was a full-time firefighter paramedic, and I spent most of my time trying to stop and prevent the worst time in people's lives. And then I picked up a camera, and I started spending my time capturing and preserving the best time in people's lives. And it honestly made going back to the ambulance too difficult. So it was the catalyst that let me take the leap of faith that I needed to start running Scared Motion Pictures and try to make it as a production house. I think there's two things that are really difficult about filmmaking. I think number one, if you're talking production, it's before you press record, it's all the pre-production work that goes into wardrobe, locations, casting, getting the right script, making sure that everything falls into place exactly how it should. I think the other thing that could be considered the hardest thing about filmmaking is just honestly getting your work seen. I think most people have the impression that if they just make a good short film that they're gonna get thousands of views and that they're gonna get noticed, but quite frankly, there's so many good pieces of art out there that just get drowned out by things that aren't quite as good. It's about catching the algorithm and just making sure people see your work. The thing that I kind of live for, and this is going to sound pretty cheesy, but working on the ambulance all those years, I got to see a lot of people at the end of their lives. And anytime somebody was at the end of their life and they wanted to share a story with me, it was never about the boat that they had or the type of car that they drove, unless they were car people. But they'd always share stories with me about the times that they spent with their friends and their community and like the important things. And I think for me, one of the things that I really look forward to every time I set out to do a project, especially a short film, feature film, something like that, is that last shot, that last scene when the director yells, "That's a wrap," and you get to hug everybody, your cast, your crew, and really just let all that hard work that you've given for days, weeks, or months into this production just kind of come to a head, and you get to celebrate that and enjoy that with the people that worked really hard alongside you. My biggest difficulty in filmmaking is I try to take on too much myself. I mean, I shoot them, I edit them, I color correct, I do a lot of the sound design when my buddy Rob's not around, and it's tough because this is something where, yeah, you can technically do yourself, but it's gonna burn you out faster. I think it's about finding the right people that can help support your vision and what you're doing, and they have to be as motivated and as driven as you are. But I think if you can find those people, it ends up being a huge positive, but I think finding those people might be, some of the biggest difficulties out there. There's a lot that I'm pretty proud of. I've got some things that I'm proud of as far as films that I've made and created, but I think the thing that I'm most proud of is when I shoot, a lot of my intention and a lot of the things that I film, like I'll shoot race car races or tabletop board gaming or sporting events, things like that. And I don't focus on the main event. If I'm at a race, it's not about the race. It's about the community. It's about all the blood, sweat, and the tears that go into what makes that thing great. And I think there's been a lot of times where I've been able to capture a lot of moments for people that really show that off. And I know that there's been times where I was able to film 3 generations of a grandfather, his son, and his grandson racing together. And I think, his grandfather is not going to be around forever. And someday he's going to get to go back and watch these videos that I made. And I think it's going to be very special to him. And to me, that's more important than getting 1,000 likes by people that I don't know and that don't really care about what I'm doing. I think my biggest success in filmmaking is just I've been able to surround myself with good people and a really good team right now. Everything I've done, every step of the way in my filmmaking process, my family's been unbelievably supportive, and I've got to meet a lot of cool people, and I've got to kind of bring them into my team and what I'm doing now. And I think that Running Scared is honestly just getting started. I think you're gonna see a lot of great things coming from us pretty soon because I was able to find those right people that I talk about is so hard to find. I actually just experienced my lowest part in filmmaking. I had worked on a video that was for a racing community that was like 24 minutes long, so basically a television episode, and it got like 200 views in the first 2 weeks, and I put 40 hours into that video easily, and it's, in my opinion, good. But again, if you're just not on the algorithm, if you don't have the right words in your title, it's just really hard to get people to see what you're doing. So it kind of put me in a funk for a minute because it's hard to put that much blood, sweat, and tears into something and just really not have anybody see it, But I was able to refocus and think about what I love about filmmaking, and now I'm back on track. If you're looking to get into filmmaking, I think it's important that you find a community and a group around you that you can really grow and learn from. When I started, I didn't really know anybody. I bought every book that I could find. I watched every Film Riot episode, every Andrew Kramer episode. I watch a lot of Quasi and his color correction even now. But I think when you can be around people that are actually doing what you're trying to do and you can see it firsthand, I think it really helps accelerate that learning curve. So I think you should surround yourself with the right people that are trying to do similar things to what you're trying to do and become part of that crew. I think if you're thinking about being a filmmaker, it's important to remember why you're doing this. It's not about publicity and money and fame and all that. I think there's an artistic beauty to it. And I think if you lose that artistic beauty and you start doing this for the wrong reasons, I think it's going to show in your work. So I think you should just try to keep the passion the most you can. And I think that's easier to do. Again, I've said it a bunch of times now, but when you surround yourself with the right people.
Thank you. That's a wrap.